Hey everybody, Justin here from Kamikaze Moto. I have an extraordinary announcement to make. I'm super excited about it. I have purchased a Royal Enfield Himalayan. So I will have one of the first Himalayans in the US and all of North America. More than likely, since I'm up in Alaska, I'll probably have the only one, the first and only one in Alaska, at least for a short while. So you can bet I'm going to ride and review the hell out of this thing. You're going to see spectacular scenery, roads, the mountains, rivers and lakes and wildlife and all that stuff while I get out there and ride this thing and review it. And you can bet I'll get up close on the parts and components. We're gonna cover how well this whole thing's up with the endurance, talk about the fuel economy, all that sort of thing. So stay tuned. Now, I know that this video is focused on the Rever app, but there's a reason why I'm talking about the Himalayan, and it's because there is no Royal Enfield dealership in Alaska. All right, so when I found out that they were going to release this bike in the U.S., I immediately looked to see if there was a dealership here. Well, there's not. So the closest one for me is in Seattle, Washington. I had to buy the bike from guys in Seattle at a shop called Triumph of Seattle, also a Royal Enfield dealership, buy it from them. And then I had two choices. Either they would ship it up to me, or I go down and pick it up and ride it all the way home. Well, you can guess what I'm going to do. I'm going to ride it all the way home. Let me show you that route right here real quick. Now, this is on Rever online, but I will back up and I'll talk a little bit more about Rever and the app and on how it works on your phone and how it works on the computer, all that stuff in a moment. Here's my basic trip. I'm up here north of Anchorage in Alaska. I'm going to fly down to Seattle, Washington, pick up the bike, drive across the state to a buddy's house and a client of mine near Spokane. We're going to do some special work. I'll talk about that in a moment. It's going to be pretty cool. You're going to want to stay tuned and see what we do with the Royal Enfield Himalayan. And then after that, I got to head north through Canada, all the way up far, far north, and then into Alaska and back home, right? So I've got this enormous trip I'm about to do. Now, let me go to the Rever homepage here after you get logged in. So for Rever, the website online, it's rever.co. Okay, so that's online. But the online portion is geared towards planning your trips. You can also manage your profile information. You know, what's your photo, what's your name, where do you live, all that sort of thing. You can control that here. You can try to amass more friends within this community to sort of share rides and all that sort of stuff. You can also control your motorcycles. So I'll do this real quick. Let me edit my profile. Get that loaded up. Sometimes this website's a little bit slow, but more so when you're just looking at maps. I'll scroll down here. So here's the garage area where you can input a few different motorcycles, and yeah, as you can see, I've already got it logged in here, the Royal Enfield Himalayan. I'm looking forward to getting a photo. I need that. But so once these are in here and all your information is set up, later on your phone when you're using the Rever app, all that info will already be there, including the connections with your friends. So, as in comparison to this online version of Rever, which is geared towards trip planning, the app is more geared towards trip tracking. Okay, so you can, if you've got your GPS turned on and you turn on the app, then it will track your route as you ride. And then when you're done, you can share it, and you can even include photos, and then people can like and comment on your trips. So I'll scroll down here to show this quickly. These are little rides that I've done. Some of them I have shared publicly. Some of them I have shared with friends. Some of them I just kept private because there was no reason to share them. It's not a big deal. Like for instance, this right here. This was actually on an ATV riding out to my cabin. I don't need to share that with everybody, and I don't want them knowing where my cabin is at anyway. So I did it for myself. It was fun to do, but I'm not going to share it. This one, on the other hand, a few weeks ago when I was in Peru, I did a ride. I tracked the ride, and I shared some photos. So you can see that here. These were a few photos that our guide took for us. So here we are, Dee and I, we're having fun, everybody's in love, everybody's enjoying the beautiful weather and doing a motorcycle trip. This may as well have been her first real motorcycle ride ever, to be honest. So basically her first like real ride, and it was in Peru, so that was pretty cool. And I won't click on this, but you'll see when you share with people that they're going to get the description of your ride, they're going to get the mileage. They can even download the GPX data so they can load this exact same ride into their GPS device or something and go on the exact same ride. Okay, so the app on your phone is all really geared towards tracking and sharing your ride. But here, under the Rides section and on the Planned tab, you click on that. And just to show you again, let me scroll up. This is just the main dashboard. After you log into Rever, you are right here. You can scroll down, and under Rides, click on Planned. That's what the online version is all about, planning trips. And you can see here that I have a number of trips planned. In fact, I have almost 3 pages worth because it's really fast and really simple to put in a start and finish point and get your route on some roads, and that's it, and save it. So you can plot out some little trips, get them recorded, because maybe later when you're thinking and you're scratching your head like, oh, where do I want to ride today? Hey, you could pull up your little trip ideas and see what you want to do. Additionally, you could share these with friends. You could get some comments from friends in this comment area here. You could generate interest on your trip. And that stuff works pretty well. If you are doing small trips, the Rever trip planning works out pretty good. If you're doing a long trip, on the other hand, it's possibly not so good and it's not so useful. And I'm going to show you why. That's why I'm doing this review. I've got my huge Royal Enfield Himalayan trip coming up. I wanted to use Rever. I wanted to continue to use Rever because it's already on my phone and I really like the app. So I was hoping that I could plan a trip, which I'm doing right here. If I click on this, it would open up the trip planning, but I already have it open, so we don't have to wait for anything. I was hoping I could plan the trip out, load that trip into the Rever app on my phone, and then start using it to guide me on my way. Use it for navigation, right? But there's a couple big problems. Let me zoom in here so that I can show you the level of detail on this route. Okay, I'll get myself way off the map there. Well, I'll just stay right here. You can see my concern already. Look at the route that it's plotting out in comparison to the actual roads available. It's all over the place. I have no idea why it's doing this. I assume it has something to do with either trying to simplify the visual display of the route so that the map loads quicker, or maybe they have settings in here that limit how many actual points can be on a route, like some sort of memory limit, something like that. But on a long trip, that completely ruins your entire route. I mean, look at this. When I want to go to this waypoint here near Spokane, I have no idea what roads this is actually going to send me on. And I have no reason to believe that this is going to give me accurate directions and help me on my way when I'm actually riding and looking at the phone or something like that. So this issue right here basically makes it a deal breaker. And just so you know, I have saved this trip, I have loaded it onto my phone, and I've taken a look at this. This is how it looks on the phone. So I don't think I'll be able to use it. The other big concern of mine, let me zoom back out, is that there's no way of seeing or finding gas stations along your route. Fuel stations, campgrounds, hotels, food. This trip is a big deal for me. There is some danger involved when you're out in super remote areas in northern Canada and northern Alaska, and you may run out of fuel, or you have to camp, but you have a concern for grizzly bears and things like that. So maybe I'd prefer to be in a campground, or maybe there's no more people, or who knows what, right? But I can't use Rever for any of that information. So it boils down to basically this is not going to work for me for a long trip, and I'd find it hard to believe that anybody else could make it work for them unless they were using this and other information, other maps and books and things like that in conjunction with this, but I don't want to have to do that. Now, let me tell you what this is good for, because I do think there are some nice things about it. What is it good for, and then what are some of the other functionality and features on the online trip planning for Rever? This is good for, and I think I mentioned it previously, coming up with your concept. You know, getting your concept out there and sharing it. It's like getting it down on paper, right? You've got this idea. You don't want to forget it. Well, hey, absolutely. Go into your Rever account and create a little trip. And now your idea is there for yourself to pull it up later, or it's out there for your friends and family to also see the trip, and maybe it'll help generate some interest, and then you can all come together and decide, yeah, let's all do this together, right? So this is very cool for concept, and it's very cool for generating interest. That's about it. Sorry to say. I was really hoping for a little bit more, especially since I'm paying for the actual subscription service for Rever, right? I have to pay more to be able to get more of this trip planning functionality, and it turns out it's not really that useful. Moving on from that, let's get into the functionality. You can, anywhere on your route, you can click and add another waypoint. So let me back up and show from the beginning. Right here under directions, you can start punching in a start location and an ending location. That's all you get here. There is no such thing as directions. This is the start and end. I don't know why they call it directions. They may as well just call it start and finish, right? You can also upload GPX data if you already have a route planned out with some other software. And if you've already saved this and shared it right here, and if it's public, anybody can download the GPX data that you put in here. So that's pretty handy. These are some cool features. If people have commented or if they've liked, you'll see all that information here. Or if you've done it and then you want to push this trip out to friends and family, right away, so they see it right away, you could click the share button and you have different options for how to share this. So that's here. Details, you could name it, you can describe it, you can make it public or private or with friends only. You can say what the surface is. I'm saying adventure because with such a long journey, I mean, it's an adventure, and I will more than likely hit some gravel highway. And then the save button. Don't forget the save button is here. If you make changes on your map, you have to come here and click save. What is sort of weird is that the save button is hidden. I would expect to see it right here, or I would expect to see it up here. Instead, you have to remember to go and click save in the details panel. I don't have any comments yet, so there's nothing to read here. Okay, so that's all that information getting started and getting your first start and finish point on the map. Now that you have some points on the map and Rever has automatically drawn in a bit of a route, you can then go and click on your route and it will add a waypoint. Now, if you click directly on your route, it usually understands that this is a waypoint in between the previous waypoint and your finish, and it will enter it right in, and you'll see the proper number here. It'll be in the right order. If it isn't in the right order, come over here to the waypoints panel, and you can click and drag the waypoint and put it in the right order. Notice what's happening here? It's like hiding it. I don't know if they wanted it to be like that or if it's just a glitchy little thing. I think it's a glitch. Maybe they'll fix it in the future. This is happening to me on Google Chrome, but either way, it still works. You can drag and drop. You can also delete that waypoint. Now, adding waypoints isn't always as easy as it should be, and I'll show you an example of what can happen. Zoom in to about right here. And also, I'd like you to notice something. I added a waypoint, then I deleted it, but look over here. My mileage hasn't changed. It has increased, and I don't know why. But then later, if you make more changes and refresh the map or something like that, you come back and it'll be changed again. But I expect to see the correct mileage right now as soon as I delete a waypoint, and that's not happening. Now let's say that after my waypoint 1, I want to stop at this lake right here. Let me just click on the map. I'll give it a second. It looked like it tried to move the map instead of clicking. Okay, I clicked. You see it's thinking right here. Notice what it did there. Just because I clicked off my route, it made this the finish. It actually thinks I want to drive almost 3,000 miles all the way home and then come all the way back here. That makes no sense. So I gotta say, this is not really intuitive for what you're wanting to do. Now, that's odd and it's kind of annoying, but again, you can go here to the waypoints and you can click your new waypoint and drag it into the proper order. And there, that's more accurate. Now I noticed that time this mileage did change. For some reason it's still saying 3,580. It should be down more around 2,600 some. I don't know what's going on there. But a moment ago it was over 5,000 and now it just edited and went back. But it's just something to be aware of, and it's something a little bit annoying. And again, you can go and delete waypoints. You can also click this X and you can clear all your points off the map and start over. You can also put a point anywhere you want and draw the route yourself. That's really useful if you're going to be riding in areas where there's no roads. You have to draw your own route and own path through the backcountry. You can do that. That's cool. You can undo. So if you make a change and then you want to just, go back one step, you can click undo. That's fine. And then right here are some settings for other layers and information that you can put on the map. So just as an example, if you're using Rever, you're planning out some trips, but you want Rever to suggest good rides to you, well, you can highlight one of these, and then you'll notice, watch the map, see all this yellow pop up? Look at somebody saying that this is like a primo Class A G1 ride to do on a motorcycle. And you may want to go plan your trip right there and get your buddies all out to go do it. So that's kind of cool. I'll turn that off. But what isn't cool is the most important thing. Nowhere on here do you see gas stations, lodging, campgrounds, the things that are really important for any long trip. It's not on here. So anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I can't believe that some of that information isn't in here, especially for paying for this. You can change from satellite view to terrain view. The outdoor view and tilt, I don't know what it does. It seems completely pointless because it really doesn't seem hardly any different from the terrain view. So I'm not sure. Maybe somebody can comment on this video and explain what the big benefit of the tilt and outdoor views is. Let me see here. I don't think I need to carry on too long. I think you kind of get the point of why I'm running into a roadblock with using the online Rever for long trip planning. But again, for short trips or to just get your idea down there and to share your idea with friends, I think it's perfectly great. And then of course, your little short trip, it'll show up in your app on your phone automatically, and there's a button that says ride it. So you pull up the trip, you click ride it, and it starts to guide you. That's pretty cool for short trips. Okay, so I think that covers Rever enough and the long trip planning. I just want to reiterate very quickly that, as you can see here, I have a mega awesome trip coming up. So I'll be picking up the Royal Enfield Himalayan in Seattle, Washington, driving across Washington. Here, near Spokane, I will be doing some Cerakote ceramic work on the bike. We're actually going to ceramic coat the exhaust, the heat shields, maybe the skid plate, a few components, right? So the bike should look better, and certainly it'll make those parts last longer. If you're interested in seeing how the ceramic coating on the Royal Enfield Himalayan turns out, then subscribe. If you are interested in seeing the video and photos, including drone video, right, following the motorcycle through Banff National Park, Jasper National Park through here, then up through the far north along the northern Rockies and through the Rockies, into the Yukon, past Whitehorse, and then past Kluane National Park and Destruction Bay, into Alaska, past Wrangell St. Elias National Park and Preserve, and then through here I'll pass some glaciers. I'll probably park the Himalayan right at some glaciers and take some awesome photos. If you're interested in seeing any of that, subscribe, because that's what's coming up. I leave in a couple days. I'll be doing all this stuff, and then a week or two from now I'll be able to get all the video posted. And then later on, a little bit this summer, and of course next year and the years to come, I'll be doing rides through the interior of Alaska, up along through here, through the along the Denali Highway, which is a gravel highway. It's a beautiful countryside. I'll do that right away. I'll also head north past Fairbanks, along the Dalton Highway, and head up to the Arctic and through the Brooks Range here. I mean, it's going to be awesome, and I will review the hell out of this bike and show you everything about it and how it endures, how it fares, fuel economy, capability, all that sort of thing. If you're interested in that, then by all means subscribe. It's kind of funny, I started out looking at my Suzuki Bandit, and then doing some customizations and some tweaking and some tuning and stuff like that, and that's been really fun. I haven't done as much video work as I'd like, and I've got some things I need to go back and finish up that I want to do, but this is truly something spectacular that I'll be doing, and on a bike that I believe is going to be really popular for the cost and its capability. So stay tuned, everybody. It's Kamikaze Moto. This bike coming from India in the Himalayas is perfectly suited for my whole karma theme of Kamikaze. So I look forward to sharing that with you. And as always, enjoy the ride, but also it's summertime, so have a fantastic summer and be safe, everybody. Thanks for watching.